Hey everyone, I'm back. Um, we're having an ice storm right now here where I'm living, and a lot of the phones are out. My phone still works, but I tried calling my mom, but just get a fast, busy signal because they have Time Warner for their phone, and Time Warner apparently is having an issue right now. But thankfully, I still have my phone, I still have power, and I still have internet, so I'm lucky. But I guess if I have to give anything up, I hope the internet or phone goes out because I really, really need my electricity. It'll get cold in here. I said I would update you on what happened with the pizza and everything. I ate it. It didn't really affect me, too bad, so I was happy about that. But then again, I took Malox, during it, so I don't know, maybe the Malox helped. But I just got off a very amazing phone call. There's a woman, and I can't give too much information because I like to keep people's lives private who talk to me. But I've talked to her on and off for several years. It's the first time we spoke on the phone together. And she found me when Rosie O'Donnell posted my benzo withdrawal video on her blog. She was one of the people who was a Rosie fan and went to the blog and watched it. And then she contacted me and sent a very nice email, about what I went through. And, we chatted back and forth a few times. And then we lost contact, for a couple months. And then I thought, I wonder whatever happened, to that woman who wrote to me. Because lots of people wrote to me, but she really stuck in my head. And I was just thinking about her. And so I went to her blog, which I remember the name of, and I saw that she had a new blog that she was writing. And so I started to read that. And she had just, at that time, been diagnosed with cancer. And so what she was doing at that time was she started eating healthier and she started to really build herself up and do relaxation techniques. Because, like me, she has a lot of anxiety issues. And so she was doing that for a while and so she started seeing some doctors. And, it all comes down to, right now she's doing chemotherapy. And, it's worn her out a lot, which is to be expected. She, we had recently, our emails had slowed down, but I knew she just wasn't feeling, up to it. And I know from my mom's experience, it's not like my mom had a ton of energy. And so once in a while, I'd write to her because I know she gets her email on the phone. On her phone, she can get it. And so I would just say, no need to write back. Just want to let you know I'm thinking about you, and I hope everything's okay. And then sometimes she'd write back, and she'd just say, email is getting really hard for me. If you want to talk on the phone, we can. So I gave her my internet phone, my Magic Jack line, and which is up on my blogs and everything like that. And she had called and left a message, and I wasn't at my computer at the time, or maybe I was sleeping. I don't remember which. And so I had missed her call, but it was so great, to hear her voice. And, in the meantime, during all this, when she was going through these things, she never once, um, I mean, suffering is suffering. I'm not going to say someone suffers more, someone suffers less. But for me, my issues are less to me than her issues. And she sent books for me to read. She sent this little tiny stone. She's very new age, which I am sometimes too. And so she sent some things to me, and it was very, very special and nice of her to do, especially in the circumstance that she was in at the time. And she said it made her feel better, and then that's great. It makes me feel better too. And the books, to be honest, that she sent, they are very interesting. I read every single one. Actually, I didn't read every single one. I read every single one and then half of one. I still have to finish the other half of it. But it's been a change of pace for me with the books. I tend to read more medical and this is more spiritual, and it was nice, and it's just good. I mean, the books are good. Um, she and I talked today, and it's funny how God or the universe or whatever you call it, or just synchronicity, puts things in place for people. Here's a woman who contacted me when I was sick, very sick still, and later she ended up being diagnosed with cancer. But in the meantime, while I was sick, my mom had cancer and still does, but was going through chemo at the time, and I was so ill that I had to live at my parents' house at that time. So I witnessed what my mother went through with chemotherapy. I witnessed from the lack of appetite, the sweating, the chills. My mom never completely lost her hair, but she lost some, and all the range of emotions that go with that. So today, when I was talking to her, I shared some of what my mom has gone through, and she was grateful to that. And I won't get into specifics about our conversation or what took place because, like I said, I keep people's lives private. But it helped for her to hear that because she hadn't heard that yet, of that it's okay to feel a certain way. It's okay to be and do and have certain things happen to you. And it just made me think, if I hadn't made that video, if I hadn't even gone through that withdrawal, what would have happened if I hadn't done it? Like, who would she have talked to today? You know, if my mom hadn't had cancer, how would I have been able to share that experience with her and make her feel better? And I'm not super to Oprah. Well, okay, I like Oprah, but there's certain things about Oprah I don't like, and I'm not going to get into that. It's neither here nor there. But her new station, OWN, that is on, she had Maya Angelou on recently on a show called Masterclass, and I did watch that, and I do like Maya Angelou. Not someone who I never read any of her books. I know who she is. I appreciate her. We'll put it that way. And when she was talking, she was saying, about teaching everything, and that sometimes you have to live your lessons. And it made me think a lot, when I watched that, and then also after the conversation today that I had. If every email that I have gotten that said, your video stopped me from killing myself. I thought I was crazy. I'm so glad I found it. If my mom hadn't gone through cancer and I didn't have that information to share with other people of what I witnessed and what is normal for my mom at least, and if they're similar, that they feel better, everything, what would have happened to those people? And it's the same thing with people who contact me and say, I went through this and I know how you feel. So now rewinding it all, I always thought that I wish that I never took Xanax because of what it's done to me. But if I hadn't have taken Xanax, what would it have done to all the people who had when I had not? And I don't know if it's making sense, but what would have happened if I hadn't been here to answer that email, if I hadn't been here to put a video up that's now listed all over the place? What would they have found something? Would they have fallen through the cracks? So sometimes things are blessings in disguises. I wish, I can't lie, I still wish it never happened to me. I wish that where I am is not where I am, but I am where I am, and I am who I am, and because of that, it's helped other people. And then it's just strange because you never know. For yourself, you might say something to someone who's a stranger that day they might have been feeling really low. And you may have just made a compliment and you don't know what you've done. That person may not have taken their life, that person may have felt better, that person may not have cried that day, and that could have set a whole sequence of events cause a whole sequence of events to take place that you'll never know. If that person, for example, did not take their life because they needed the kind word and you gave it that day in passing, never thinking of it, and now that person 10 years later is married and has a child, that child's there because you gave that compliment. And it also says a lot about hate and about love. Many people, most people from my videos will say something kind, or even if they don't understand, they remain silent. Or they'll say, I don't understand, but I hope you feel better. And then there's the ones, like on all videos, especially if you make videos, that will say something hateful and hurtful. And I've learned to ignore it for the most part. Sometimes it affects me directly, but then I get over it and I continue. But it just shows that hate, just why would you want to tear someone down? And if you are tearing someone down, you need to look in the mirror at yourself, because anything you do to someone else, you're really just doing to yourself. If you give and give love and compassion, I truly believe that that is what you will get back. And if you're spreading hate, you're going to get that back. You will get things happen to you, or people say things. And I'm not just saying karma, because I don't necessarily believe in karma, because there's people that are really great in this life and bad things happen. But I just think there's a balance to things. And I personally, and I am not perfect, I have judgmental thoughts. I think judgmental things about people. I have said things, and I am sure that I have said things to people that have hurt them in my life. And people have done the same to me. I mean, it's part of being human. But I would like to make a conscious effort to continue to be more positive. And that doesn't mean having positive thoughts, although I'm sure that's good. But it means I don't want to tear people down. It serves me no purpose. There's no harm in uplifting people, even if you don't necessarily like them. There's no harm in being silent when you see someone making a mistake. You can tell them that they are, and then if that's what they are set on, why criticize? I mean, really, a criticism is just the truth in disguise. You're just saying something hurtful when really you should say what you really believe. Um, why say to someone, oh, why do you eat that way? And then make them feel bad, when instead you really just want to, you really at that point were concerned maybe, and you want to say, well, I'm worried that you're eating that way. Isn't that unhealthy? And then maybe it's not, and you'll learn something. Or maybe it's just you were raised a different way, and this person was raised another, and this is their eating habits or their spiritual beliefs. I guess one last thing I want to say is when it comes to spiritual beliefs, I am not anti-religion, I am not anti-God, I am not anti-spirituality. I have my own personal beliefs, and I respect everyone's belief. Jehovah's Witnesses pop in my head. I talk to a few people who are. Um, Islam, and of course Christianity, which is a given, because that's the main religion in this country where I live. But I just personally feel no one's necessarily right, no one's necessarily wrong. There's just people trying to do the best that they can with what they know. And everyone, I guess we're all stuck here for a while, and so we might as well try to get along with each other. And I think the world would be a happier place if we just didn't judge so much. And we tend, and I'm guilty of it too, when something is different than you want to lash out. Um, and I just think that we'd be better off not. And of course, I'm not saying anything new. This is stuff we've all heard before. But I guess today just really put things into perspective of, what if something didn't happen to me, then what would have happened to others? And then also talking to her made me feel stronger, because I'm thinking, okay, if you can go through all this, then I can go through what I have to go through. And I made some decisions recently. I know how I am with coping. And so what I want to do is I'm still going to call a gastroenterologist, and I'm going to do all that stuff, but I'm going to do it the day after my mom had surgery. I want to make sure my mom's okay first. I can't have it all on me. I will fall apart. I know myself. And really, a couple weeks, even if there's something really wrong with me, it's not like something major will happen in a couple of weeks. So just to wrap things up, I'm going to be calling on the 4th or 5th of February. It's a definite. I don't care how I feel, what I'm doing, you will hear a report back from me or a blog posting that I called. Won't be happy about it, maybe, might be scared about it, but I will be doing it. So just want to let you all know that. And I feel like I really babbled today, but I hope you got something out of it, because there's sometimes things happen where you feel a certain way, but you can't put it into words for other people. But, just think about your lives, think about things that you've done and said, both good and bad, and just think that, things that you regret happening to you, think of the lesson that you can share with other people that are willing to listen to your experience and how that may help them. But anyway, okay, I'm going to go. I'm running out of time, and I'll talk to you all later. Woman who wrote to me, because lots of people wrote to me, but she really stuck in my head. And I was just thinking about her. And so I went to her blog, which I remember the name of, and I saw that she had a new blog that she was writing in. So I started to read that, and she had just at that time been diagnosed with cancer. And so what she was doing at that time was she started eating healthier, and she started a video on her blog. She was one of the people who was a Rosie fan and went to the blog and watched it. And then she contacted me and sent a very nice email, about what I went through. And we chatted back and forth a few times, and then we lost contact, for a couple months. And then I thought, I wonder whatever happened, to that one. Hey everyone, I'm back. We're having an ice storm right now here where I'm living, and a lot of the phones are out. My phone still works, but I tried calling my mom, but just get a fast busy signal because they have Time Warner for their phone, and Time Warner apparently is having an issue right now, but thankfully I still have my phone, I still have power, and I still have internet, so I'm lucky. But I guess if I have to give anything up, I hope the internet or phone goes out because I really, really need my electricity. It'll get cold in here. I said I would update you on what happened with the pizza and everything. I ate it. It didn't really affect me, too bad, so I was happy about that. I had, but then again, I took Maalox, during it, so I don't know, maybe the Maalox helped. But I just got off a very amazing phone call. There's a woman, and I can't give too much information because I like to keep people's lives private who talk to me. But I've talked to her on and off for several years. It's the first time we spoke on the phone together. And she found me when Rosie O'Donnell posted my benzo withdrawal